The following video contains content and/or language which may be considered unsuitable for younger viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Dave Madson Entertainment, Inc. presents
Dave and Friends, Episode 9, The Case of Sam's Cold Cases.
Now that is a groovy cake.
It's nice you thought of our engagement.
I had a little help.
I was the baker.
I supplied the frosting. And I was in charge of the icing.
Of the icing? Of the icing?
Excuse me, am I interrupting?
Not at all, General. We're just celebrating Sam and Anna's engagement.
I came with a message for Sam.
What is it, General?
It's from Sergeant C.J. Randolph at the new Russell City Police Department. He wants you to come to the station immediately.
Is Sam under arrest?
Not really, Anna. There are a mess of cases, Sam, filed against Dave and his friends in the last 9 years that have gone cold, and now that his control freak tendencies are gone forever, the police are requesting that Sam drop all of them.
It would be good if we reviewed all of the cases to see where I went wrong.
I'll be waiting for you, Sam.
Later, at the new Russell City Police Headquarters.
Microsoft Sam. So glad you could come here.
You have something to discuss with me?
Sergeant Randolph tells me that there are a lot of cold cases that Sam had filed against Dave Madson and his friends over the last 9 years that need to be cleared up. We've contacted some of your friends who were involved in the cases you filed, and with the General's permission, we'll consult a judge to help get all these cold cases cleared up. Permission granted. I'll leave you to go through all the cases while my troops work to repair the damage the Tick Controlosa creature did to the swimming pool.
Those cases I filed are from when I was plagued by all those vices, and I'm willing to drop the cases.
Microsoft Sam. You have come to review all the cases you filed against Dave Madson and his friends over the last 9 years, I presume?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Sam's willing to drop all the cases once we review them, since he no longer has control freak tendencies.
This is quite a list, Sam, so let's go over what we have. 25 cases of perjury against Microsoft Mike, for denying he's an asswipe. 6 cases of perjury against Microsoft Mary, for denying she's a bitch. 3 cases of perjury against Scotty Be Free, aka Radar Overseer Scotty, for denying he's a dime a dozen bum. 1 case of perjury against Beulah English, for denying she's a fatso. 15 cases of trespassing against Michael Lernout and Michelle Hospee. 45 cases of wrongful termination against Mr. Wallace B. Warner Sr., Wally Warner Jr. and Dave Madson. 50 cases of insubordination against Dave Madson. 75 cases of mutiny against Dave Madson.
Did I file all those charges?
Yes, Sam. All 220 of them.
No! Really?
Really?
Sheesh.
Just the sheesh!
I've taken the liberty of notifying all parties involved in the cases Sam has filed, and they shall be here shortly.
Later, after Mike, Mary, Scotty, Beulah, Michael Lernout, Michelle Houseby, Mr. Warner, Wally and Dave arrived at the police department.
Microsoft Mike, I understand that Sam filed 25 charges of perjury against you.
That's right, Your Honor. Sam kept calling me an asswipe, which I never was, and I retaliated by calling him a son of a bitch.
I also admit to insisting Mike really was an asswipe, and that he talked like a lady.
Microsoft Mary, Is it true Sam called you a bitch repeatedly and you denied it each time?
That's true, Your Honor. He even insisted I talked like a man and flirted with me repeatedly.
I am so filled with shame for doing that.
Scotty, Sam claimed you lied for denying being a dime a dozen bum.
He was really out of his mind, Your Honor. He always abused me, threatened me and fired me on so many occasions, which was the root of his control freak tendencies.
And Beulah, Sam always called you a fatso because you kept defending Scotty against Sam's wishes.
Correct, Your Honor. I kept saying I've been on the weight reduction program, but his mind was so warped at the time, I was always frustrated.
Mr. Lernout and Ms. Hospy, isn't it true that Sam hated you too because you were different?
It's true, Your Honor. He kept calling me a gay boy and Michelle a lesbian.
We're not even part of the LGBTQ community that the far-right extremists and autocrats despise so much.
And Mr. Warner and Wally, you fired Sam on several occasions because he fired Scotty and refused to rehire him?
He was becoming too much of a control freak for us to handle at the time. He always claimed he should be the boss in our studio.
And Dave, is it not correct that Sam repeatedly accused you of mutiny and or insubordination because you constantly overrode his decisions?
All too true, Your Honor, and all too often. Sam always thought he should be the boss at our studio and kept claiming some lame reason for doing so.
And what is the reason Sam claimed for saying he should be the boss in your studio?
I can't answer that, Your Honor. It was all out of jealousy. I had appeared in Dave's videos before he did, and I just got jealous of Dave because he took charge.
Sam, do you now realize all that you've done in the last 9 years at Dave Madson Entertainment Inc.?
Yes, I do, Sarge, and I am indeed sorry for all the trouble I've caused to Mike, Mary, Scotty, Beulah and the others.
You should get rid of your old habits and move on.
I already have, Sarge, and I'm ready to drop all my cases.
Excuse me, Your Honor, am I interrupting anything important?
Not at all, General. Sam's willing to drop his cases.
There's a little matter of law which allows Sam to claim ownership of his left line.
That law was nonsensical and declared unconstitutional.
Apparently, there was enough support for that law here in New Raflika and it's on the books here.
I'm willing to challenge that statute on the grounds that all laugh lines should be considered public domain.
I'm willing to declare the laugh line law unconstitutional here if you agree to drop your cases, Sam.
It's a deal, Your Honor.
And we're willing to expunge all 220 cases from the record.
In that case, I shall recommend to the New Raflikan Supreme Court that all laugh lines be declared in the public domain and 220 cases filed by Microsoft Sam against Dave Madson and his friends be dismissed.
Later, back at the studio.
Welcome back. Sam,
how did it go?
Did you get your cases dropped?
Not only are Sam's cases dropped, his left line, whatever it is, will be declared public domain here in New Raflika. By the way, Sam, what is your left line?
Raffle.
That's our Sam.
General Corigliano tells me that your outdoor pool is now fully repaired.
That's correct, Sarge.
Shall we have a dip in the pool, Dave?
I'm feeling kind of hungry at the moment, Rhonda, so I'll let Sam pick the place to go for lunch.
Thanks, Dave. The place we are going is as follows. TikTok tacos, serving tasty tacos on time.
Olé!
This has been a Dave Madson Entertainment Inc. production.